One way that you can really extend the capabilities of Canva is by understanding that you can create images themselves to download and then re-upload. This enables you to create different shapes or different compositions that if they don't exist in Canva, you can yourself create and then have available to you. Let me show you a couple examples of how that would work. So let's say that I want to have a frame or shape, frame. Let's say I want to have a frame and I want to, inside this frame, have 2 or 3 images going across, let's say different seasons. So we have these really cool kind of swash ones, let's use that. And I want to have multiple seasons, different photos kind of within it. Now, Canva doesn't have that ability natively. So if I say spring, for instance, okay, there's like a nice spring one, but that's it. So it's kind of cut, it's a one photo in there, and then if I have one of summer, I can't, drag that in instead. It's going to be just one or the other. But I want to have 3 different photos inside this one grid. So I'd be kind of out of luck on that. However, what's really great is if you understand that you can create something, download it, and then re-upload it for use, you really extend the capability. So here we go. So let's add one photo of summer. And I'm going to have it take up the entire height, cut into 3s. Now, actually, I want to make sure that the 3s are even. And let me show you a separate quick trick for this. Square. You might have seen this from the little square trick as far as bringing in tiny elements. If not, I suggest you go check out that video. 1, 2, 3 to make sure it's all going to be perfectly done in thirds. And then I'll grab them together and they all move. So let's just get some different colors. So this way I'll know where to place my photos. So I'll put the summer in the middle. I'm going to crop it within there. There we go. Next, let's get a different photo. So another photo. Let's go spring. I'm going to bring this down just to that third. So all I'm doing here is I am creating a composition, an image that I am going to then download and then upload to reuse inside of Canva. So 1, 2. Now let's go with fall. Lovely. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I bring it to the side. I'm making a composition. Now, of course, you're not limited here. Like whatever you can fit into this space is something that you will then shove into this area here. So if you want to add other elements like stars, text, like whatever you like you're entirely free to place it because it will download as a PNG that you can then just upload. But for my case, I just want the 3 to finish this design. So here's the trick. So we go with download, and I only want to download page 2. So which page? Only down 2. So I hit download in the top right. I come down to select pages, and I click on page 2. And then download. It's PNG. Here it is. Okay, now we come back up to this area here, and 2 places you can either drag it right into the screen or you can put it into uploads. Tell you what, I'll put it, let's add it right in. And here it is, 1, 2, and 3. And then I hadn't intended to snap in, but it snapped in already for me. But if you upload the image here on the left side, I'm just going to give it a second to finish fully uploading for me. Then you can drag it in, and now this swash will take those 3 photos and place it in. And that'll work now in any frame that we want to do as well. So if we want to, let's go back to our elements. Let's look at our frames. So we could put it inside of a computer. Go back to our uploads. Here's a photo we just uploaded. 1, 2, 3. And just one more for fun. Triangle, swash. And there's some real crazy ones here sometimes. Let's just go with this wild cutout grid. Go back to our uploads, and there's a photo. So you can see how it goes across. So we were limited in what we could do with Canva specifically, but because we, in Canva itself, can create any composition we want, then download it, it extends what we can do. And this works too for finding other features that may not exist. So specifically, and I covered this a bit in the shadow one, but it's a really good example of the type of things that you can do once you wrap your head around it. So if we go with a blob, or it might be gradient, that'd be good. Okay, so here is a nice looking blob shape, and I want this to have a shadow. I want it to pop up against the screen. Currently, there is no way to do this simply in Canva. You know, if I control and paste it, I could make it, you know, just a darker shade, and then reduce the transparency a bit so it fades. That's kind of a cheeky and sneaky way to do that, but it's a hard shadow, as if it's a very bright sunlight, and it's a little bit nicer to have it faded out. So what can we do? Well, exact same thing. So I'm going to make this real dark. And I'm going to place this one here for now, just so it's out of the way. I'll make this full transparency. Oops, it's got the bit of a gradient on it. Let's change that up. Okay, and just for quality's sake, I'm going to make it a little bigger. So here's the new photo. I'll tell you what, we'll go real big on that. Now we just have to download this. So we're going to download this shape. Download PNG, which page? We find our last page. This is page 5. Done, and download. So Canva is downloading a PNG for us. And tell you what, I'll delete this now. And here it is. It is downloaded, and I can bring it back up. So what have we accomplished? Doesn't really seem like much, but here's a trick. The thing is, now it's a photo. And if you remember with photos, there's a whole second selection menu with this. So if we click in the photo, we go to the top. There's filter, and there's also adjustments. So we can do all of these effects to this photo, including brightness and blur, more interestingly. So what does that look like and what we're trying to achieve? Well, we've uploaded a new, so we had a shape, we had a blob. We created a dark version of it, and we downloaded it as an image, and now we get all the image selection options for it. So now we can go to adjust, and we can blur it, creating that nice soft shadow effect. And if I go to transparency, I can reduce that way down. So we'll copy this guy here. Actually, we'll cut it because we don't need it there anymore, and paste it. And now you have that soft, nice shadow effect on that photo. And complete control over it too, of course, because we can reduce its transparency further, and you could increase or decrease the amount of blur. So plenty of options. Yeah, so as you can see, once you get your head around the idea that if an element doesn't exist within Canva, you yourself can create it and then download and upload it. One point of clarity though, if you are using Canva free, as you know, I've forced myself to use Canva free for this one, you can't download transparent PNGs. So what's important to note is for this shadow and for this image here too, it can't be transparent. It's going to have a white background. So if I grab the shadow and I bring it to front, you'll see that it is covered. So you're going to have some limitations with that. You're going to need to keep the background color in mind. Now, if you're smart about it, you can definitely still do it. So with this one, if we change the background color to, let's make it just a gray. That's a little bit boring. Let's make it yellow, right? You can still play with this. You just have to plan ahead for what's going to happen. So specifically here, we're going to do the same process. We're going to make this dark and then dark again. There it is. Let's download. We're now at page 6, so I click on download. I go to page 6. Thinking download. There it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now what it downloaded was including the yellow, so that when our image sits on top of the yellow, it's going to feel like it's transparent. This, of course, it won't work for us if it's a photo in the background, but you know, you'll have to accept some limitations with the free version. And then simply from here, you know, same process, we can now grab our blob, adjust, and blur. And then let's see, transparency. And there we have it. So even though it's on a colored background, because we were thinking ahead to make sure that the background of the photo we were going to download is the same, you can still get away with it. So as you can see, you can get really creative with what you're able to create if Canva is lacking a particular element by understanding that you can create any composition you need, download it, upload it, and then edit it or add it wherever you need it. See you in the next lesson.